An orphan. James had spent most of his life in an orphanage, longing for a family to call his own. When he was finally adopted by the Smiths, he was overjoyed. But things quickly took a turn for the worse. From the very beginning, James could tell that his new mother didn't like him one bit. Mrs. Smith was a stern woman with a quick temper, and she seemed to resent James for reasons he couldn't understand. At first, he did his best to stay out of her way, but it didn't take long for her to start picking fights with him. It started with little things, criticisms of his table manners, scoldings for not doing his chores fast enough. But soon enough, Mrs. Smith was hitting him too. It was always when his father wasn't around, and James quickly learned to fear the sound of her footsteps coming down the hall. He tried to tell his father what was happening, but Mr. Smith was always too busy with work or too tired from his long days at the factory. James felt hopeless and alone. But then, one day, something strange happened. James woke up to find that he had somehow developed magical powers. At first, he was scared and confused, but as he experimented with his newfound abilities, he began to realize that he had the power to protect himself from his mother's abuse. The first time she hit him after he discovered his powers, James instinctively raised his hand, and a bolt of lightning shot out, striking the wall behind her. Mrs. Smith was so shocked that she stumbled backwards, giving James the chance to run out of the room. From then on, he used his powers to defend himself whenever his mother attacked him. He learned how to create fireballs, levitate objects, and even turn invisible. It was like he had been given a gift, a way to finally fight back against the injustices he had suffered his whole life. But as he grew stronger, Mrs. Smith grew more and more afraid of him. She began to resent him even more, and her punishments became even more severe. It was like she was trying to beat the magic out of him. One day, after a particularly brutal beating, James decided he had had enough. He packed a bag with some clothes and his few belongings and ran away from home. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew he couldn't stay with the Smiths any longer. As he walked down the road, he felt a strange sense of freedom. He was scared, of course. He had no idea how he was going to survive on his own, but he was also excited to finally be in control of his own life. It wasn't long before he realized that being a runaway wasn't as easy as he had thought it would be. He was hungry and tired, and he didn't know who he could trust. But he refused to go back to the Smiths. One day, as he was wandering through the woods, he came across an old man sitting by a fire. The man was a wizard, and he saw something special in James. He took the boy under his wing and taught him everything he knew about magic. For the first time in his life, James felt like he had found a real home. The wizard was kind and patient, and he never once hit James or made him feel afraid. With his help, James grew even stronger and more skilled with his magic. Years went by, and James grew into a powerful wizard in his own right. But he never forgot about the family that had taken him in, even if they had treated him poorly. He decided to pay them a visit. When he arrived at their door, he found that his father had passed away, leaving Mrs. Smith all alone. She was frail and sickly, and James realized that she had been suffering too, maybe not physically, but mentally and emotionally. He realized that she had never really known how to love him, and that her hatred had come from her own pain and trauma. James put aside his anger and used his magic to heal Mrs. Smith's ailments. As he did, he felt his own heart soften towards her. She had been a terrible mother, but he could see now that she had been doing the best she could. In the end, James realized that his magic wasn't just a tool for fighting back against those who hurt him. It was also a way to heal and bring love and kindness into the world. He left the Smiths' home with a new sense of purpose, knowing that he had the power to make a real difference in the world. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe for more videos, press the bell icon and select all to get notifications.